Good day, everyone. Hope you're doing well today. And today we are going to be ranking all the Star Wars films. And this was pretty fun. It's similar to what I did with the ranking of the Star Wars movies, where I get a bunch of people to rank them, one for being best, and last would be 13 when it comes to the Star Trek films. And we add up each row. And so if the lowest will be the winner and the highest number of points is last place. So we did that again for the Star Trek ranking. And we had 8 people that contributed to this. My wife Jess, Telly, Sean, Andrew, Sean. So we got like a bunch of people. We had 14 for Star Wars. We only had 8 for Star Trek. So yeah, that's what we did, and now we are going to do the ranking. So, in 13th place is The Final Frontier. And yeah, 98 points, and I ranked it 12, and it's not a big wonder why it came so low in the list. In fact, last place. It wasn't that great. It just wasn't. And I think you have like a couple of decent lines, like "What does God need with a starship?" Things like that. But it just didn't really feel like a Star Trek film. So take it as you wish. But yeah, that is last place. Coming up, second last, 12th place is Star Trek, the motion picture with 88. Now, it's 10 less points than The Final Frontier did. And this was 13, so dead last on my list. I guess it could have been good at the time, but when you compare it to all the other Star Trek films, it's not that great. A lot of just a lot of weird stuff, happens, and you don't even get a lot of action in it. You don't get a lot of Star Trekky stuff in it. Not really. I guess it was kind of cool slash neat slash when the transporter failed on that one person around the beginning. And so it makes you wonder, oh yeah, I mean, transporters can mess up once in a while. So, that may not be a good thing, but you never really see that again later on. So, yeah. So I don't blame people for having it very low on the list. And again, mine was dead last. So, but that's okay. 11th place with 73 points is Star Trek Insurrection. So Insurrection is the last of the next, no, not the last of the Next Generation films, Nemesis is, but I found this is last place for the Next Generation films. And for me, I ranked it 10. It was okay for a Star Trek film. It was. It was just a bit off. And I can't even put my finger on it, to be honest. It just, But, again, it is what it is. And, most people, agreed with this. So, yeah, Insurrection, 11th place. The next one, with 71 points, in 10th place, is Nemesis. I actually really like Nemesis, and I gave it a 5. I'm not sure why some people didn't like it so much. I did. I really did like it. I could, I guess, understand, maybe it didn't seem so Star Trek-y to them, but I really enjoyed it for the last of the Generations films. Yeah, so, but that's how it is, and that's fine. I think they didn't like a lot of the parts with B4 in it. In fact, I think that's what most of what I heard from other channels too. So, yeah, and then of course, spoilers, Data dies, right? So people probably didn't like that very much. So the next one at number 9 with 70 points is Into Darkness. I gave it a 7, so not too far off from this. I did enjoy it, and it had some good parts. It was weird how they twisted things around with Khan and Spock and Kirk dying and stuff. Again, spoilers. Um, but it was done well. The cinematography is great. Um, Beaming across the galaxy, though, I found it very hard to believe. But I guess it is what it is, too, right? So, but yeah. So Into Darkness, 9th place. For the next one, for number 8, we actually have a tie with Star Trek Beyond and Star Trek Generations. I gave Beyond 11, so a really crappy score. And I gave Generations an 8, so I was right on with the Generations, but Beyond, I gave it a lower mark. I didn't like Beyond too much following the other Star Trek, J.J. Abrams Star Trek movies. I found it kind of blah. I did like the ending, like the last maybe half hour of it. That's about it. I mean, and there was a few good scenes when the Enterprise got destroyed and stuff like that, but overall, yeah, I wasn't that into it. Generations was a really good film, I find. Um, you get some cool action in it, and yeah, it's the first time you see Picard on the big screen. I think that it was done like it could have been like a 2-part series though episode. So it wasn't like high tech cinematography at the time, but it was well done. And we got to see Kirk, although he dies again in it. So, but whatever. I mean, that's pretty cool that we got a tie here. So because we have a tie, and I just put them both at 8, the next one's just going down to 6. So I keep it so we have a first place. All right. So number 6th place with 60 points is Star Trek: The Search for Spock. This movie followed The Wrath of Khan, so it had a lot to live up to. And it did a decent job, but it couldn't live up to The Wrath of Khan. And I think that's why it has a lower marking. It was pretty good for a Star Trek film. It really was. And you have Christopher Lloyd playing the Klingon. And, you have the sad fate of David, Kirk's son. And, the Enterprise gets destroyed. I love the movies when the Enterprise gets destroyed, I guess. Yeah, so it was a well done movie. Unfortunately, it followed The Wrath of Khan, so it doesn't get high as a mark from a lot of people. But it was still pretty well done, well acted. So there we go. Number 5th place is, with 42 points, Star Trek 2009. I enjoyed it. I really did. I gave it a 3. And I enjoyed it. It was like the first Star Trek movie we had for 7 years, because Nemesis came out in 2002. The graphics were great. Like the cinematography was great. And I like, yes, it's in a different universe now, but I really enjoyed it. I really did. And I do watch it from time to time still. And will probably always enjoy this movie. And yeah, so it got a 5. I think the only thing with Star Trek 2009 was how different things, like how unbelievable some of the stuff was, with Kirk being in command of the Enterprise from being a cadet. But besides that, I think it was pretty cool. Coming in at number 4 with 36 points is Star Trek First Contact. I really liked First Contact. I gave it a 4, actually, so I gave it right on here. I love the Borg. Really love it. So a whole movie dedicated with the Borg was awesome. Was it a great movie? No, wasn't a great movie. Some parts were even dark. It was probably one of the darkest. Maybe not. One of the darkest, anyways, of the movies of Star Trek. But I enjoyed the first warp flight. I enjoyed, Data being captured and try to be assimilated into the collective. And so I think it was done very well, but I really gave it the point because it was the Borg, and I love the Borg. So, but apparently other people did too. So, yay us. Coming at number 3 with 30 points is Star Trek The Voyage Home. And now that's the one with the whales, in case if you're wondering. That was followed up by, that followed the search for Spock. So it was very publicized, The Voyage Home. And it took place, the movie, it didn't take place. The movie came out just after the Challenger shuttle exploded. And you actually see a dedication at the beginning of the film for that. But it was a movie that it came like Star Trek coming down to Earth, like our Earth in the 80s, which was pretty cool. It didn't age very well, obviously, but I don't think it was supposed to. It was supposed to show how we are in the 80s. And I think that was pretty cool. And I found some of the ending a little bit boring. When the whale, after they get back to the future, the whales are taking their time coming out of the ship, and there's something wrong with them and things like that. I found that kind of boring. So there was a few boring parts, really boring, but overall I think it was a fun movie, and it's definitely on my list that I watch. Coming at number 2, we have Star Trek The Undiscovered Country. I really loved this movie when it came out, and I still do. It was full of action. It was what a Star Trek movie is supposed to be. And it was really awesome. I gave it a 2 also, so that's awesome. And yeah, I guess a lot of people did like it. And I think they did it very well for the last old Star Trek movies. They did very, very well on this. I like the ship action sequences. You know what I mean. Pente, I think. The ice planet that McCoy and Kirk ended up on. Yeah, that was a cool planet, and interesting stuff happened there. So yeah, it was a really, really. I really love the ships fighting around the ending at Camp Kittimer. So no wonder it's at number 2. But now we go to number 1, and with 15 points, I'm sure you could probably guess, is The Wrath of Khan. The Wrath of Khan is a classic. It's pretty much a perfect Star Trek movie, and it does everything right. Action, drama. There's a couple of boring parts, like a minute or 2 here and there, but on the whole, it just kept going and going. And then when you have the battle with the Enterprise and the Reliant, and then you have the ending battle where they're chasing each other, it seems kind of boring, but they make it not boring. You're trying to see through the view screen of where the ships are and stuff. It's really cool. And then obviously the death of Spock. Spoilers again. Um, it I tear up every time I watch that movie at the ending when Spock dies. So this was my number one also, and it was actually 6 people's number one out of this. So yeah, so Wrath of Khan, very awesome. So what do I think of all Star Trek movies altogether? I think most of them have been done really well. You get a few movies that aren't that great, but overall, I'd say out of the 13 movies, I'd probably say probably 9 of them, probably my top 9 myself, I would rewatch over and over again. I don't rewatch Motion Picture, Final Frontier, Insurrection, or Beyond. I've watched Beyond twice, Insurrection maybe once. No, once. I did watch once, maybe twice, maybe. Final Frontier, I know I watched it more as a kid because we didn't have much Star Trek stuff at that time in the 80s, right? So, and the Motion Picture, So anyways, those are our rankings for the Star Trek films. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and let me know in the comments how you would rank all 13 Star Trek films. Alright? I hope everyone has a great day. Take care, and have an awesome day. Bye.